Kṛṣṇadāsa kinamjana salakaya Sakshu militanyena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namama Vadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Caitanya Namne Koratrise Namaha Vanchakalpa Trupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Evcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Reading from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta by Śrīla Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Gosvāmī Maharaj, and we are at Madhya-līlā chapter 6, the liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya, and the purports by Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada. Text 206. Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya composed 100 verses in a very short time. Indeed, not even Brihaspati, the priest of the heavenly planets, could compose verses as quickly. After hearing the 100 verses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happily embraced Sarvabhauma, who was immediately overwhelmed in ecstatic love of Godhead and fell unconscious. Out of ecstatic love of God, the Bhattācārya shed tears, and his body was stunned. He exhibited an ecstatic mood, and he perspired, shook and trembled. He sometimes danced, sometimes chanted, sometimes cried, and sometimes fell down to touch the lotus feet of the Lord. While Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya was in this ecstasy, Gopinathacharya was very pleased. The associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all laughed to see the Bhattācārya dance. Gopinathacharya told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Sir, you have brought all this upon Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "You are a devotee. Because of your association, Lord Jagannath has shown his mercy." After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified the Bhattācārya, and when he was quieted, he offered many prayers to the Lord. Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya said, "My dear sir, you have delivered the entire world, but that is not a very great task. However, you have also delivered me, and that is certainly the work of very wonderful powers. I had become dull-headed due to reading too many books on logic. Consequently, I had become like an iron bar. Nonetheless, you have melted me, and therefore your influence is very great." After hearing the prayers offered by Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his residence, and the Bhattācārya, through Gopinathacharya, induced the Lord to accept lunch there. Early the following morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple, and he saw the Lord rise from his bed. The priest there presented him with garlands and prasadam that had been offered to Lord Jagannath. This pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much. Carefully tying the prasadam and garlands in a cloth, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hastened to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya. He arrived at the Bhattacārya's house a little before sunrise, just when the Bhattacārya was arising from bed. As Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya arose from bed, he distinctly chanted, "Krishna, Krishna." Lord Chaitanya was very pleased to hear him chant the holy name of Krishna. The Bhattacārya noticed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu outside, and with great haste he went to him and offered prayers unto his lotus feet. The Bhattacārya offered a carpet for the Lord to sit upon, and both of them sat there. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened the prasadam and placed it in the hands of the Bhattacārya. At that time the Bhattacārya had not even washed his mouth, nor had he taken his bath, nor finished his morning duties. Nonetheless, he was very pleased to receive the prasadam of Lord Jagannath. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the dullness in the mind of Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya was eradicated. After reciting the following 2 verses, he ate the prasadam offered to him. The Bhattācārya said, "One should eat the Mahaprasadam of the Lord immediately upon receiving, even though it is dried up, stale, or brought from a distant country. One should consider neither time nor place. The prasadam of Lord Krishna is to be eaten by gentlemen as soon as it is received. There should be no hesitation. There are no regulative principles concerning time and place. This is the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see this. He became ecstatic in love of Godhead and embraced Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya. The Lord and the servant embraced one another and began to dance. Simply by touching each other, they became ecstatic. As they danced and embraced, spiritual symptoms manifested in their bodies. They perspired, trembled, and shed tears, and the Lord began to speak in his ecstasy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Today I have conquered the 3 worlds very easily. Today I have ascended to the spiritual world." Purport. The goal of human perfection is stated here in brief. One has to surpass all the planetary systems of the material universe, pierce through the covering of the universe, and reach the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha Loka. The Vaikuntha Lokas are variegated spiritual planets situated in the Lord's impersonal bodily effulgence known as the Brahmajyoti. One may aspire to elevate himself to a heavenly planet within the material world, such as the moon, the sun, or Venus. But if one is spiritually advanced in Krishna consciousness, he does not wish to remain within the material universe, even in a higher planetary system. Rather, he prefers to penetrate the covering of the universe and attain the spiritual world. He can then be situated in one of the Vaikuntha planets there. However, the devotees under the guidance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu aspire to reach the topmost spiritual planet known as Goloka Vrindavan, the residence of Lord Sri Krishna and his eternal associates. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, "I think that today all my desires have been fulfilled, because I see that Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya has acquired faith in the Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath." Indeed, today you have undoubtedly taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, and Krishna, without reservation, has become very merciful towards you. My dear Bhattācārya, today you have been released from material bondage in the bodily conception of life. You have cut to pieces the shackles of the illusory energy. Today your mind has become fit to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, because surpassing the Vedic regulative principles, you have eaten the remnants of food offered to the Lord. When a person, without reservation, takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the unlimited, merciful Lord bestows his causeless mercy upon him. Thus one can pass over the unsurmountable ocean of nescience. Those whose intelligence is fixed in the bodily conception, who think, "I am this body," are fit food for dogs and jackals. The Supreme Lord never bestows his mercy upon such people. Purport. The Supreme Lord never bestows his benediction upon those fixed in the bodily conception. As Bhagavad Gita clearly states, "Sarva dharman parityajam mam ekam sharanam braja Aham tvam sarva pabebhyo moksayishmami ma sucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18:66. In this verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 2:742, the meaning of Sri Krishna's statement is explained. Krishna bestowed his causeless mercy upon Arjuna just to get him out of the bodily conception. This was done at the very beginning of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita 2:13, where Krishna says, Dehino smin yata dehe komaram, yovanam yara. In this body there is an owner, and one should not consider the body to be the self. This is the first instruction to be assimilated by a devotee. If one is under the bodily conception, he is unable to realize his true identity and engage in the loving service of the Lord. Unless one comes to the transcendental position, he cannot expect the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, nor can he cross over the vast ocean of material nescience. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Without surrendering unto the lotus feet of Krishna, one cannot expect release from the clutches of Maya, the illusory energy. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Mayavadi sannyasis who falsely think of themselves as liberated from the clutches of Maya are called Vimukta Manina. Actually, they are not liberated, but they think that they have become liberated and have become Narayan himself. Although they have apparently realized that they are not the material body, but spirit soul, they nonetheless neglect the duty of the spirit soul, which is to render service to the Supreme Soul. Therefore, their intelligence remains unsanctified. Unless one's intelligence is sanctified, he cannot apply it to understanding devotional service. Devotional service begins when the mind, intelligence and ego are completely purified. Mayavadi sannyasis do not purify their intelligence, mind and ego, and consequently they cannot engage in the service of the Lord, nor expect the causeless mercy of the Lord. Although they rise to a very high position by executing severe austerities and penances, they still hover in the material world without the benediction of the lotus feet of the Lord. Sometimes they rise to the Brahman effulgence, but because their minds are not completely purified, they must return to the material existence. The karmis are fully under the bodily conception of life, and the jnanis, although theoretically understanding that they are not the body, also have no information about the lotus feet of the Lord, because they overly stress impersonalism. Consequently, both karmis and jnanis are unfit for receiving the mercy of the Lord and becoming devotees. Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Jnana kanda karma kanda kevala visera banda. Those who have taken to the process of karma kanda, fruitive activities, and jnana kanda, speculation on the science of transcendence, have simply eaten from poisonous pots. They are condemned to remain in material existence, life after life, until they take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. After many births and death, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita 7, 19. After speaking to Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his residence. From that day on, the Bhattācārya was free because his false pride has been dismantled. Okay, we stop here for today. Jai, Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya-līlā chapter 6, the liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattācārya. It's still a little bit continuing.
Jai.
But the Bhattācārya is freed. Jai, Śrīla Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Gosvāmī Maharaj ki Jai, Jai. Om Vishnupad, Śrīla Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Gurudev. Then we read from Om Vishnupad, Śrīla Bhakti Rakshidev's Gosvāmī Maharaj, beautiful book, Loving Search of the Lost Servant. And we are in the chapter Sonhood of God, page 60. Lord of Love. Surrender is so powerful that it can even capture the Absolute. We are aspiring for that kind of potency, and whoever possesses that, they are all in all. They are our masters. For our highest interest, we must look towards the direction in which that power is intensified. We shall try to look wherever we find surrender in a thick, condensed stage. Our aim should be directed towards that. We are beggars of that. We are not beggars for anything which can be found in this mundane world. Not wealth, followers, or the enjoyment of women, but eliminating everything. Our aim should be directed towards one thing, that most intensified condition of divine service to the Lord. We should try to convert everything in such a way that it can go to unknown quarter beyond the jurisdiction of our sense experience or mental acquisition. Like a rocket sent towards deep space, Srimad Bhagavatam, which draws the essence from all of the revealed scriptures, says that divine love is the most desirable and original thing. And then I read yesterday, Guru Maharaj says, it is not a non-scientific thing. It is not a non-scientific thing. After conquering all this suffering, all this entanglement in the material world, then by purification going to experience gradually, slowly, more and more, step by step, love for God, that's big. I mean, I am not in that big words, but I'm not experiencing in that way. But that is the most scientific process, because even though they don't know it, the scientists, but everything is Krishna. So to conquer all the things that are not Krishna, which are only in the mind, that is very scientific. Then go towards that realm where there is everything is love. We must not allow ourselves to run here and there, searching for base fulfillment. We must forcibly concentrate our attention on divine love. Divine love is the highest thing for us. It is the highest in creation, the highest in eternity. And to take our stand in the negative position is the strategy of remaining in the relativity of the highest quarter of service to Krishna. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur once composed a verse expressing the proper attitude. Pujala ragapata gora vabange, matala sarujana svishaya sange. Range. The path of divine love is worshipful to us and should be held overhead as our highest aspiration. He ordered that a cottage be built for him in Govardhan and said, I shall live there. I am not fit to live in Radhakund. We read that yesterday actually, right? So it's very beautiful. So I continue reading. Is that okay? I shall live in a lower position, but my gurus, Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur and others are fit to serve there. So I shall go and serve them there in Radhakund and then return to a little lower position. In Govardhan, there I shall stay. That is the proper tactic to maintain a subjective position in a subjective world. Otherwise, if we think that we are in the highest quarter, that higher reality will vanish from us. Only from a little lower position shall we view that higher plane with respect. But whenever we think that we have attained that higher position, that we are there, we are nowhere. That is the nature of the higher world, so we must maintain a respectable distance. If we try to look directly, we lose. But if we try to look at that plane through a screen or from a hidden place, then we may see. It is most peculiar. If we want to come in direct contact with things of a higher order, then they vanish from our experience. If you cannot come in direct connection with something, you may find out about it by espionage. It is something like espionage. If you try to know it directly, it is impossible. Only from behind the screen can we have a glimpse. In that way, we can experience the highest ontological truth, as if by chance ontological truth comes to us. He accepts us suddenly, and we can find him. He is absolute. He is the autocrat. He is independent. Whenever he comes by his own whim to give his connection to us, we can have it. It is never within my clutches. He is not an object to come directly within my control. He is always above. By this system, we can come to the highest realization, in the highest order of Līlā of Radha and Govinda. Krishna asked Radharani to do something, and she refuses, saying, No, I won't do that. And yet this has been accepted as the highest mood of the negative side. To deny Krishna whatever he may want is called Bhama Bhav, and Radharani is full of that nature. But that enhances the eagerness, the earnestness of Krishna. The whole system is a crooked one, and yet this is the way recommended for the poorest to come in contact with the highest. It is a wonderful device. The direct transaction, the clear face-to-face transaction is absent there. Everything is like stealing. Everything there is a stealthy performance. In the highest area, in the area of autocracy, it is wholly black marketing, and for that reason it is known as aprakrita. Just similar to the lowest conception of things, in our present living condition, we cannot tolerate autocracy. It is considered the lowest thing, but autocracy is there in the highest world. So it is known as aprakrita, the highest quarter of the transcendental world, which can harmonize everything. The beauty of that plane is that even what is considered to be of the lowest type, here is all harmonized there. The harmonious strength is so great there that what is undesirable, nasty, and bad here is harmonized in such a way that it gets the highest position there. Krishna's peculiar position is such that the lowest has been proven to be the highest by his magical touch. Because he is there, no blot is a blot. It is pure. Krishna consciousness is the touch of Krishna, the beauty of the highest order. Just as the touchstone will not only convert silver into gold, but it will also transform even iron, lead, or any lower thing into gold. The touchstone of Krishna is so powerful that the lowest type of everything within our conception receives the highest position by his magical touch. Raghunathdas Gosvāmī says that if you are unable to accept this as truth, then you will be thrown down into Vaikuntha. Go live there where general law rules, where there are fair dealings. Go down to the land of fair dealings, simple dealings, where you can calculate and go on living very nicely. We stop here for today. Jai, loving search for the lost servant ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Sila Bhakti Rakak Siddhadev Gosvāmī Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Sila Gurudev. Prabhu, will you sing, please?
Hari Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Adaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopala Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Giridhari Ju Ki Jai Jai Om Joshi Shri Guru Govinga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ju Ki Jai Jai Om Vishipaya Padamhamsa Padavaraja Kachai Vraya Asata Sata Shishimad Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishipaya Padamhamsa Padavaraja Kachai Vraya Asata Sata Shishimad Shri Bhakti Vakak Shri Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishipaya Padamhamsa Padavaraja Kachai Vraya Asata Sata Shishimad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishipaya Shri Gaurika Kṛṣṇadāsa Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishipaya Shri Satchidananda Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishipaya Shri Jagannath Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Shri Rupanuka Guru Varaka Ki Jai Namaskar Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Baladev Vidyabhūshana Ki Jai Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Narottam Chamananda Shri Bhattācārya Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Ki Jai, 6 Gosvāmīs of Vrindavan Ki Jai, Sarvabhauma Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Sarvabhauma Shri Man Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Ramakund Radha Kund Kivi Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Lakshmi Varaha Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shri Nrsimha Dev Ki Jai, Bhakti Prabha Parab Maharaj Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Tulsi Parukama Ki Jai, Ganga Janamauti Ki Jai, Grantavar Srimad Bhagavatam Caitanya-caritāmṛta Ki Jai, Vishnu Vaishnava Varta Sabha Ki Jai, Akramat Vatu Tri Caitanya Ki Jai, Dadiya Sakamat Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Ki Jai, Vishnu Bhayapi Dadiya Sakamat Ki Jai, Shri Dharmayapur Ki Jai, Shri Nabadvik Ki Jai, Vrindavan Purushottam Dham Ki Jai, Baladev Subtitle Jagannath Ki Jai, Shri Kavirāja Kun Ki Jai, Shri Siddhartha Gankadaraji Ki Jai, Samaveta Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, all the Sema devotee Ki Jai, all the devotees all over the world Ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Nita Go